Hey everyone, welcome to this week's car review. I'm here with Didier, who I met last weekend briefly at Cars and Coffee in Connecticut. I was walking around and I spotted this M5 and I was, oh my god, is that really an E28 M5? I had actually never seen one in the flesh. It's one of my favorite BMWs. Anyone that follows my channel would know that I'm a big fan of 1980s cars, and I'm a big fan of BMWs from the 1980s, and there really is very few cars that are rarer than an M5 from the 1980s. In fact, how many came into the country, do you think?
So in the US, there were only 1,200 manufactured for the US market.
Yeah.
There was a greater market in Europe with various variants in different production years. There was a couple hundred, I think, maybe even less, that were manufactured for the Canadian market. But
right.
Really 1,200 only made it in here.
So an incredibly rare car by any standards. And these days, how many do you think will still be around?
So the M registry for this car, I think, has somewhere around 390 registered. And my guess is that most anyone that has an M5, E28 M5, is pretty fanatical, so they'll look up the registry and they'll take it upon themselves to register it. So I think that's probably not far from the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe 100 off.
Yeah.
So between, let's say, between 300 and 500 that are still in good shape. A lot of these cars were raced.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these cars were raced. A lot of these cars weren't well maintained.
Yeah.
And were trashed pretty early on. I mean, it was a long time ago.
So we're down to just a few hundred. So it is an incredibly rare car by any standard. So, and this one is a pretty much immaculate condition as well. What do you think these are worth now?
Well, jury's still out. I mean, you can go on eBay. The problem is you go on eBay and the Craigslist and some of the auto resellers, you'll find a lot of them that are being sold every once in a while, every couple of years.
Yeah.
But they're probably in the 30s to 40,000, but they're high mileage cars.
Right. So a good condition one like this, you're looking at a fair bit more.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a couple of companies out there that are in the business of buying and selling these cars for investment purposes.
Yeah.
I would say the fine line of investment grade, certainly below 100,000, preferably below 50,000.
Yeah.
There's a few of them out there that I've seen in the 5,000 to 10,000 range, but those are selling for over $100,000 a pop.
Yeah. So when you purchased this car, has it lived up to your expectations?
Actually, I'll say even more.
Yeah.
In part because the condition, I bought it from a group that does a good job in identifying good specimens, and this was definitely one.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this chassis, so I knew what to look for from a body and condition standpoint. Less familiar with the S38 engine, which this has.
Yeah.
But I think the clincher for me was that this car was never tracked. You can tell when a car is tracked based on how the bushings are, what's been modified, etc. There's a few modifications in this car, none of which are permanent, all of which can be reversed and put back into in original condition, like the suspension and the brakes and the headers.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit first about the specifications of the car. So the US model had the catalytic converter, and they came in at about 250, 260 horsepower, didn't they?
Not much more than 258, I think, was the rated horsepower.
Yeah.
Which made them less fast, certainly, than the European counterparts.
Yeah, which were 300.
Yep. Closer to, well, 286 to 300, depending on which variant you're talking about.
And this particular car's had a little bit of engine work to bring it back up to that specification.
So I'm a big fan of chips. I didn't do this. It was the previous owner, but I think he was pretty thoughtful. He or she was pretty thoughtful in terms of what they wanted to get done. First and foremost, brakes. The brakes on the original car were good. They're not great. I've had other 5 Series. I know what they can do, but they're not high performance grades. These were upgraded to, I think, M3 grade brakes.
Yep.
And I can tell you that this car stops on a dime.
Yeah.
Hugely important for a car that goes fast all the time.
Well, this car isn't that heavy either.
No,
this car's
very light.
It's actually lighter than my M4.
That's right.
Which is incredible for an M5. I mean, you can't imagine that today, because the modern M5s are hugely powerful, but still hugely heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I can slide out the back in second gear and get the tires going in second gear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it goes. It's been chipped, so there's usually a good 10 to 15,
Yep.
sometimes 20 horsepower added to it. It's a Denon ship, I believe. It's
Yep.
got a strut in the front, which tightens the front end.
Yep.
And it's got some high performance headers, which makes it flow through better. The exhaust is stock. My guess is that if you put in a high flow exhaust, it'll probably go even faster.
Yeah.
But it's running, based on the previous owner's representations, around 300 horsepower right now.
Which is plenty for a car.
It's more than you need. It's more than you need.
And you have this.
That's right. That's right.
And
I love this. I searched for this and I finally found it and printed it out. And it's the advertisement for being it was actually the fastest production sedan in the United States in '88.
Yeah.
So, and they do advertise it being 1,200.
Yeah.
At that point, there's others advertisement, but it's be one of the 1,200 fastest families in America.
Now, so there was some controversy about the 1,200, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think what ended up happening, and I had done my research. I forgot what exactly the numbers. I don't think the original number was 1,200. I think that was what they ended up with.
Yeah.
I think the original number was south of 1,000, if not south of 800.
Yeah.
I think BMW realized that quickly that it was a good seller,
market,
right? A good market for it. And so when the original owners that had presumably made pre-orders on this car,
an investment basically,
on an investment basis,
yeah.
which was back then was not really a typical thing to do, which kind of is a testament to how special this car was. They complained to BMW and filed a class action lawsuit. Undoubtedly a lawyer amongst the purchasers. And the settlement apparently was, as you and I had talked, was a $4,000 credit towards the purchase of their next.
Not an insignificant amount in 1988.
I'm not sure exactly how much this car was going for, but my guess is probably in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, so it was a decent deal. Yeah. So let's have a quick look around the inside before we go and have a tour on the outside. I'll bring up my big camera here and we'll turn on the ignition. That will start it up.
It just cranks right up.
It does start just right up, and the viewer's not going to miss this out. But there's an 80s BMW smell about this car, which I don't know. Some people might not like, but for me personally, it's one of the highlights of these cars. It's just such a great smell. But the dash is very much like the 6 Series, isn't it?
It's all the same. I will say it's got the same quirks as every 5 and 6 Series, which is the infamous brake light, which is when a bulb doesn't short out, but it's not well connected.
Right. Yeah.
It'll turn.
The same thing in my E30.
So you have to reset it all the time.
Yeah.
And now the 6 Series, the location of all of these will change depending if it's a 5 Series or 6 Series.
Yeah.
But the inside is effectively the 5 Series, the 535 IS interior. There's really not that much. The big difference is the bolstered Recaro seats. Yeah,
these seats are fantastic,
are very
aren't
comfortable,
they? And of course, this being an 80s BMW, it's got the monster buttons for changing the seats, even the height of the headrest.
Because you wouldn't want to use your muscles.
No, that's right.
Or a lever of any sort.
But I can change the rake and the pitch. Yeah.
Now I've taken these seats apart, not these particular ones, but on my other car.
Yeah.
And if you saw the engineering that went into the mechanics,
I imagine
it's a 4-engine system, and it's got 6 spindled cables.
Yeah.
Where the tolerances of it working or not working are 0.5 millimeter. So but they're very solid until they break down, and then you got to take the whole thing apart. And
2-sitting heated seats in the back as well, by the looks.
So that didn't exist in the 5 Series, in the regular 5 Series.
Right. So the M5s that came into the US were pretty much loaded with all the options.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they had this lovely leather on the added. Oh, and that's the other thing to add is that they could come in any color as long as you wanted black, wasn't it?
Black with a tan interior.
With a tan interior is the only option for these cars.
With the exception of the Canadian market, which had, for some reason, black on black only.
Yeah. Which, as it turns out, your favorite car color is
black with tan interior, as you'll see in my other cars. He
is a veritable treasure trove of cars that I love, so we're going to be good friends.
Yes.
But
and then it's got the M logos embossed in the seats.
So that was original as well, was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got a 170 mile an hour speedometer. We've got the light switches down here, which are unique for the 5 Series, I think. They weren't like that in the 6, were they?
No.
No.
No, the 6 Series are pull out.
Yeah. Trip computer, does the trip computer all work?
Same. Yep.
Yep.
Everything works.
Oh, wow.
Except the time's not right because I didn't reset it.
And you've even got a Blaupunkt. Obviously, it's not an original.
No, but
it is a Blaupunkt.
It's a Blaupunkt, and it color matches.
Yeah,
so when you turn it on, actually, it matches the orange, the BMW orange.
I need to get one of these for my E30.
And it sounds pretty good, I have to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I have no reception.
Yeah,
here, it's a great little add-on that the previous owner did.
Aircon works.
Everything works.
The 80s sliders, which are fantastic.
And these rarely break down. They're actually
and they've got such a nice smooth. Well, this one does anyway. That one's got such a lovely smooth feel to it.
The only thing that's of issue, which is typical, is the fan, which is buried inside the console here.
Oh,
I can tell you that the spindle actually wears out.
Yeah.
And will have some play in it over the years.
Yep.
And eventually, when it gets old, it'll start spinning out of whack and make a whistling noise. This car's starting to do that only when I accelerate furiously.
Oh, okay. Which I suspect is quite often.
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's go and have a quick look around the outside.
Okay. I'm gonna pop, I don't know if you want to pop the hood
I'll pop the hood now, yeah. Okay, here we are on the outside. And I guess the most recognizable thing is these the US bumpers, weren't they? They were specific to the North American market. Were they? I wonder whether they had those in Canada as well. Hard to know.
You know what? I don't know, but they're pretty hideous.
Yeah.
I will tell you, they work.
Yeah.
I've been hit by other cars, not with this car, but with my 6 Series and another car, and they'll take a good 5 to 7 mile an hour.
I guess that's what they're designed for, isn't it? Yeah.
But they'll bounce right back.
Right.
The other thing is they blacked out all the
grills. Yeah.
All the grills were blacked out in the back.
And these are the original wheels?
Original wheels.
Yep.
So they're I think they're the good size, but really for high performance, you'd want probably more staggered wheels.
Yeah. Still, for the 1980s, an R16 is pretty rare.
Which was very rare.
Yeah.
So this is blacked out here, which they never did before.
And the classic twin pipes on the back, which are just slightly off center. Always slightly off center. I remember as a teenager thinking how annoying that was. And you've got the original BMW speakers in the back too. Okay, let's have a look at this engine.
So this is, as I said before, this is where the value of the car sits.
Right.
Now the cross member strut, that's just to tighten the body up, not necessary. These headers are actually quite good, quite expensive and quite good.
Yeah.
They do improve the performance substantially.
Aren't they? Isn't it an absolutely gorgeous looking engine?
And it takes up a lot of room actually.
Yeah. It sounds like a racing engine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which of course it is.
It is. So this engine was designed for the M1.
Yeah.
Which was designed for racing.
Yeah.
So the M1, I think they made probably 400 of them for production.
Yeah.
In order to enable them for racing, and they decided to take the M1 engine, the S38 M1 engine, and plop it into this car, which is just crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. And you got all the beautiful headers up here. And it's just a beautiful looking engine. So this is all pretty standard.
Everything is stock. There's nothing that's been changed with the exception of the strut.
Yep. So there was no brace on there at all, stock?
No.
All right. Okay.
So the suspension was upgraded.
Yep.
Mainly but new struts.
Yep.
And that's about it. Everything else is basically stock.
Yeah. All right, let's stop messing around and take it for a drive.
All right.
Okay.
So driveway, stay to the
right.
To the right, and then when you go up, just slow down as you go over the crest.
Okay, and then we're going to take a right.
Take a right and go straight up.
Okay.
Oh, it's got a short shift.
Fantastic. Okay, here we go. Driving the M5. I have to say, I'm a little emotional about this. I never thought I'd get to drive one. It is just, this is more exciting perhaps than any other car I've ever driven, to be honest. I can drive all manner of modern cars all day long, but this is something really special. I'm really,
you'll get to see
very excited.
What I got to feel the first time I drove this car. So.
Okay.
And we'll take you on some a little bit fun roads.
Okay. Brake off. Here we go. Oh, this is so cool.
Hopefully we won't hit the M4 on the way out.
Ugly M4. We'll get past that.
You go right and then straight up.
Okay.
And at the top you're gonna make a right.
These are like Connecticut roads.
Tell you if you're cleared.
Clear. Let's roll.
That's it. So here we got to keep it at 30, unfortunately, because the cops have the tendency of waiting in some of these corners.
Imagine being the guy that drove this car the first time.
I know.
Oh my God. I mean, it was something. I mean, it's something special now, but back then it must have been just one of the best cars on the road.
Yeah, but especially think about it. Most of the cars were putting out, the 635 CSI at the time was putting out 188, 190 horsepower at best. Yeah, this was an amazingly fast car. 300 horsepower doesn't sound like much today. Most you can get modern family cars that have that much, but back then in the 80s, it was an enormous amount of power. Yeah. And what I love about 80s cars is that it really was the start of something special. It was when they first started putting computers in the engines. Fuel injection really became, the mainstay of engines. It really was a huge leap in technology in cars during the 80s. There were a lot of terrible cars in the 80s, but there were a lot of terrible cars. But I would say in the German cars,
they really
certainly
came into their own.
Right.
Man, this rides so nicely, doesn't it?
There's no shaking stuff, no loose components. Yeah, it's smooth. So
well, you can't imagine that this would be any nicer when it was new. This is pretty tight, isn't it?
This is about it. Yeah. I mean, this is effectively the way it was when it was driven off the lot.
Yeah. And I love the travel of the gas pedal.
Yes.
It's got a really long linear travel.
And you'll see how long the throw is once you get into once you get through the gears.
Yeah.
Here. So what I would do is once we get over that hill, try to throw it into second gear, get some revs onto it, so you can see how much it keeps on pushing, how it drives like a race car and not like a muscle car like today's muscle cars.
Okay, we're going back to third.
You can even go down to second at this point. Yeah.
Into second. Oh my God. Oh my God. Back into third again. Oh my God. The handling.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible? Was that a shock to you after coming out of the 6 Series?
Well, especially the 6, I had the L6, which is soft, right?
Yeah.
Completely different drive, and you see the braking's really spot on. When you get to a straightaway and you want to smack down the brakes, you'll feel.
Oh, this is incredible.
Sure. We've got a not so innocent bystander in the back.
Your daughter. Try not to kill us all.
So here we're gonna make let's do a straightaway. So make a right.
Okay.
So you can do a full-on acceleration.
I can floor it along here?
Yeah, not here.
yeah.
Once we get to 55.
Okay.
And hopefully there won't be any police standing at the top of the hill. But
we'll deal with them. We'll drag them off. It's just...
Based on your previous video, the Valentine will turn on for anything. So,
yeah, that's right.
So I think we're safe.
Yeah, Valentine owners all over the world ready to murder me. Hanging a left here?
Yeah.
Shit. That is incredible. Wow.
So, yeah, sorry, I'll turn it off. So I will tell you that at speed, I'll even close this down. You know, well over 100 miles an hour, this car is as smooth as they get.
Yeah.
It actually.
I think I've got my door open. Oh, the wheel for a second?
Yep.
That's better.
Ah.
What an amateur. Now we can really hear the engine sound. Slow down a bit.
It likes to rev. It really likes to rev.
It really does.
Engine oil. I gotta put engine oil.
Welcome to the 1980s. But yeah, it's such a different car to drive in so many ways. You know, as I said before, the travel of the gas pedal is such a long travel,
yep.
and it's so enjoyable because as it's picking up revs, it's making that sound, and then it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So, how's your experience been driving it so far? I mean,
it's been really quite nice. I mean,
yeah.
I have only driven it about 200 miles or so.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a left at this light.
Okay.
We'll drive by the correctional facility. That way, if we get
perfect.
stopped, it'll be
a short trip.
Short trip.
We'll know where we're going.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's been terrific, and you know, I've had a bunch of different cars, but I got to tell you, this engine is what makes it different.
Isn't it amazing?
You can rev it so high, consistently.
Yeah.
You know, what's the red line? Where it's
7,500, 7,000. Yeah. Yeah, for a car of this vintage is an incredibly high red line, isn't it?
And it likes to be up there.
Yeah.
That's when it's the most performant.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And now you understand why a lot of people used to track these cars.
Yeah.
Because on the track you have full control.
Yeah.
The back end slides out relatively easily.
Yeah.
A la Porsche 911 style.
Yeah.
And it just it's light. So I mean, as you can see, it's tight in the steering.
What? Oh, I just love this car. I'm coming back tonight and stealing it.
And it's made for roads like this.
Yeah.
Even when you have little bumps, like no problem, it handles it.
Yeah, and it's handling so flat.
Yeah.
This is what's surprising me. You know, we take a corner like this at a reasonable speed, put the gas in on the way out, and it's staying nice and flat, handling the bumps pretty well. But yeah, it's that engine sound, and you get a good feel through the wheel as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know, this drives like a modern sports car in so many ways.
There's no loss of sensitivity whatsoever. And actually the pedal position is quite good on this car.
Yeah.
I will say that having the short shift kit on this is actually a godsend.
Yeah.
Because on the original car, the travel was actually quite big.
Is the travel like in the 6 Series? Because
Yes.
the 6 Series travel is enormous.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, okay.
It's the same. I don't know if they changed the gearbox on this, to tell you the truth. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty sturdy gearbox to begin with. And the horsepower difference, I don't think
it's
made
not worth
much
it.
of a difference.
Yeah. Wow, this has just been an incredible experience. I can't thank you enough for letting me drive your fantastic
No, my pleasure.
car.
Listen, if as anyone that enjoys my cars as much as I do, is welcome.
Yeah, this has really been an enormous highlight for me. I honestly never thought I'd actually get to drive one of these cars. So here it's just, or even see one in the flesh. So seeing one and driving one, just incredible.
Well, like I told you, I think I've been looking at these cars, maybe not since inception, because at the time, in '88, I was graduating college, so I wouldn't have been able to afford anything, let alone an M5. But the minute I could afford one, and back in the days in the United States, when I was looking at one, it was probably for a high-end, low mileage, was probably in the $15,000 to $20,000 range for the longest of time, which was affordable to me. The problem was, if you have a problem with the engine, you can't afford it. It's you don't have the cash to be able to. And I remember going to a place, I think it was Hunting Ridge Motors in Connecticut, that had a beautiful example. Test drove it. It was immaculate. Sounded great. Was concerned because the engine had a valve noise, but that's the 24 valve aspect to it. And said, what happens if it goes bad? And you got to take the whole engine apart, and it costs an absolute fortune. So I never got one until now, where I have a place to stay and a garage to put it in, most importantly.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this review, and we're going to drive this for a little while longer, and I'm just loving every second of this.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough. Thank you
pleasure.
So much.
My pleasure.
We're coming back and driving some more of your cars.
Oh yeah, we've got a couple more to try out.
Okay, I'll see you guys in next week's video. Next week's video, we are flying helicopters, so something to look forward to.